Hello, JCAT Communications. Good job drafting paper one, providing you with some video feedback so that you'll have this as a reference that you can go back to in order to better understand the revisions that you'll need to make in order to be successful in paper three. Because paper three will be based on paper one, it'll just be an expanded, revised version of paper one. Every campaign book has 3 chapters: a situation analysis, a research plan, and then a campaign plan. 3 different chapters. And where's campaign plan? There it is. The first section in the situation analysis is background, mission, and values. And you do a pretty good job here. Since 1948, the Orlando Rescue Mission has helped countless lives among the Orlando area obtain stability. Has helped countless people in the Orlando area obtain stability. Not countless lives. It just sounds weird, right? And you give, okay, the date it was founded, you give the location and the address, you describe it, you say down here, Orlando OURM allows the families to stay for however long they may need while the parents take courses and obtain certifications needed to lead to a stable job for the family to make a reasonable income. It's just wordy, right? Maybe 2 sentences, maybe reword that part. This 2-sentence paragraph is an incomplete paragraph because it's only 2 sentences, but also it describes your campaign. So in the first section we talk about background, mission, and values. When was it founded? Where is it located? Why was it founded? Who founded it? What does it do? Why does it do it? Okay? Background, mission, and values. Now there's a problem or an obstacle that your client is facing in trying to achieve its mission. And this obstacle or problem also presents an opportunity for your campaign to help your client overcome that obstacle. So in some ways, this content could be appropriate if you're going to explain that you need to, though, explain how OURM is facing difficulties in achieving its mission in providing toys to its children over the holidays. An abundant amount of resources for their residents and is highly respected among the Orlando community. So what is an abundant amount? This is very vague and it's awkward wording. How do you know the organization is highly respected? You just claim it so it is so? Like a politician? Well, I said it, so it must be true. Almost 70 years ago, a stable foundation for credibility throughout the city. Well, what does that mean? Has it been stable? How do we know? Our campaign, so there's a lot of first person. Let's look in here. We want to limit the first person usage. So let's see, there are 31 uses of we, which is about 15 too many, and 58 uses of our. It's not the campaign or the target audience or this campaign or the Glee for Under the Tree campaign. It's our campaign. So you want to pull back on all of this first-person narration. In fact, you should only have about 15 total uses of we and our throughout your whole campaign. You also never use second-person you in formal writing. Like every campaign, you have strengths and weaknesses you must overcome. Well, what does you, does that mean me? So be careful with this narration here. It's inappropriate for formal writing to have all of those first-person and second-person narration. It sounds as though it's a first-person reflection on an idea for a campaign. You also make sure you never use words like hope, which you do use. Hope is passive. It's not an active. We hope to have 100 followers. No, this campaign is designed to achieve 100 followers. Not hope, right? Or not believe. And we got believe. Or what about we think? Well, not really on think. Or feel. No think, feel, believe, or hope. Get those out of here. They're just not appropriate in this type of writing. So back to the problem and opportunity statement. What is the problem your client is facing in trying to achieve its goal? What is the obstacle? And the campaign will not only benefit, but the overall awareness of the mission as well. So you're talking about the campaign here. So you want to limit that information. There are many threats. Our campaign, why not this campaign, right? Be taking place during the holiday season. Well, I'm not sure that, well, I mean, what are the threats? Competition is a good one. But what are the who are the direct competitors? Toys for Tots or Make-A-Wish. What are the direct competitors? And be more specific and precise here. Research plan begins with your secondary research report, where you describe the conditions. 1.5 million people in America will be homeless and will use services such as homeless shelters and get transitional homes. Make ends meet is a colloquial expression. It's a cliche. It's not appropriate here. Where's the source for this statistic? Is this in 2010? Is that 7 years ago? Well, how is that still relevant today? Is that before the financial crisis or after? Or this is outdated information. And then here we don't have a citation here. 1 in 50 children fall into the homeless community. They fall? The need for support will always be necessary. The need will be necessary to make ends meet. Maintain the freedom obtained. I just don't have any idea what you're trying to say here or how this is secondary research. What are some similar campaigns that you can use information from in order to build your campaign? To compete against the competitors, social media. So does that mean the competitors don't use social media? There are billions of social media posts every day. Why would you believe that just another post out of those billions is going to achieve your campaign goals? And why are you talking about your campaign when you're supposed to be talking about secondary research report? What are two other campaigns that are very similar for very similar nonprofit charity clients? What did you learn from those campaigns? What are the messages? What are the strategies, the tactics, the goals, the objectives? What are the channels that they're using? And how can you use that information to create a strong campaign? So what are your audiences and who are your stakeholders? I'm not sure I saw anywhere here where you talked about stakeholders for your ORUM, right? And what does well off mean? You believe. Okay, that's great. I'm glad you believe it. But what does that have to do with anything? And why are we talking about the goals of the campaign than any other aggregate of individuals? Estimated household median income is higher than the large majority of Florida. This is not appropriate, FL. Is this the average income in Florida? Or is that the average income in Winter Park? This is not an APA citation. Who is the audience for your campaign? Who are the publics? Now you're talking about a campaign. Wealthy families. Who are those wealthy families? How many of them are there? Where do they live? At Rollins College, right? It's college. Unfortunately, the vast majority of college and high school students would not think twice about donating to such a cause. I have no idea what that means. They would not think twice about it. They would just do it. Who is Tamika? And is this correct way to reference somebody in an APA paper. And what does, I don't understand. Our campaign wants to entice these families. So I think you're missing it here because you're talking, now these are more strategies when you're talking about message themes. You're not describing the demographics, the important information about how many families, how many people, where are they located, what are their income levels, what are their ethnicities, what are their genders, what does the typical person who donates to an organization such as OURM, who lives where your campaign will be launched, look like? What are their values? What are their beliefs of things that they think are important that you can leverage for your campaign? Who are the stakeholders for OURM? Nowhere in here do you talk about stakeholders, I don't think, right? Let's see. Stake. No, you don't talk about the stakeholders anywhere. So we have some issues here. Strategies and tactics are two separate sections in your paper. The GLE will use strategic measures to accomplish the campaign objectives. We want to entice. Well, if that's what you want to do, but what's the campaign designed to do? Always put punctuation inside the quotation marks. We are truly one big family. Are we? We will be using social media platforms to put forth these messages. So you're going to use social media strategy and an Amazon wish list that you're going to create. You say, we're going to do all this. You're going to post pictures, and I guess you have admin privileges on all of these social media platforms for OURM. Is that correct? Now you're talking a goal. This is an objective, right? Because it's a number. Is that in your objectives? Do you have 80%? No, it's not here. So that's a problem. You've got a new objective in your strategies and tactics, which should be two different sections. So it doesn't make sense here. Amazon would be capitalized, right? Campaign advertising through flyers. What are these flyers going to look like? What's the images? What's the text? Now we're getting into the timeline. So now you have the timeline for some reason under strategies and tactics. Strategies describe the message themes and channels, the events that will be used to reach the audience. Based on your theory, what messages and channels are you going to be using that will inform and persuade your audience to take some action? So we know that our audience is altruistic, but you have to have some research on that. Therefore, these types of messages will be effective. I think you're missing a big part of it here. We can say something like, there will always be people in need everywhere, but why not help those people in our own community? Give locally. Provide that Christmas joy to a local person, right? Charity begins at home, and our home is Central Florida or Maitland, Winter Park area, right? These are just really generic, and they could apply to any organization with any audience, right? I would urge you to think more about the local angle. Never use ND. October 2nd, is that 1973? October 2, 2017, right? Never use these superscripts in any kind of formal writing. And December 15, 2017, period, right? Not a superscript. This is not appropriate for any kind of formal writing here. Don't use those superscript ST or NDs or RDs. This campaign includes several different, now we're talking about tactics in the timeline. The timeline should say, This campaign will begin on this date and it will end on this date. And it will explain what messages will be posted on what social media platforms, on what days, at what times, over every day of the campaign. What flyers will be printed, they'll be distributed, what will the content be, where will they be posted. The Winter Park area is very large. You need to get real specific here. Where are these flyers going to be posted? And how do you know that people are going to see them? What is your rationale? What is your theory? What is the strategy you're using? What are the messages? What are the images? What is the theme that you're doing? So, post scheduled media, social media posts. On one of the days, well, what day? On the second topic day, what days are these? Is this just way too generic? Design and present and print flyers, these posters throughout Park Avenue. Do you have permission to do these things? And do people see these? How do you know that they're going to see these? And what will they say? More importantly. Now, so you have a social media strategy and an event strategy, right? And then we have all of these THs, which are wildly inappropriate. November 26, 2017. So this looks good, right? This is a tactic here, a specific type of a specific event. Okay. No, if everything is executed, we'll end the fourth quarter. Get rid of no hope anywhere ever in your paper. How many hours will be required to generate and post content on social media? How much will it cost to print? Who's going to post the posters? $50 for design and printing. It would take, I don't know how you came up with these numbers, and they seem ridiculously low, right? Your measurement criteria and evaluation plan should go back to your objectives, getting 80% of the gifts from your wish list, which I don't see here anywhere, right? So it's problematic because it's like parts of the paper are just completely disconnected from other parts when they should be closely aligned. Bibliography looks pretty good. If you have any questions or concerns, please let